listening to the Good Stuff Podcast with your host, CK Helms.
What's up, everybody? It's me, CK Helms, your host of the Good Stuff Podcast. And if you hear screaming of any children in the background, babies crying or anything, it's spring break, so show must still go on. So we're just going to go with the kids here and everything and just record the podcast. So I want to thank you so much for listening to episode 13 of the Good Stuff Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Blind Bandit Productions. Each and every episode of the Good Stuff Podcast is brought to you by Blind Bandit Productions. You can learn more about Blind Bandit Productions at blindbanditproductions.com. You can learn about the Good Stuff Podcast is on there, and where you can go listen to it on all the different formats and stuff that we're on, like Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, Google Podcast, and of course Podbean, where we host our podcast from. And so see some other things that Blind Bandit Productions, or BBP, let's just say that, because Blind Bandit Productions is such a mouthful to say. Let's just say BBP. And so anyway, see what else, something maybe working on other things that they're involved with. And this is just the first podcast. There's going to be some other podcasts coming up on the line throughout the year. I'm hoping, at least. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to do the Good Stuff podcast, but I think some other people are going to come around and do some other podcasts. So stay tuned to that website, blindbanditproductions.com. And there's something else on there I may be working on as well, but we'll leave that for another day. But anyways, yeah, guys, we're continuing on the MarchCU episodes. And so later on in the show, Zach will be here with me, and we will now be going into Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Continuing on this MarchCU extravaganza here that we're on. I love that word, extravaganza. But yeah. We'll be doing Phase 3, but we're only going to be doing half of Phase 3, and then next week you'll be getting the rest of Phase 3, so just continue on the show. But right now we're going to get straight in the news, so I hope you're ready. Buckle up and get ready for this 13th episode. But yeah, man, everybody, we got a lot of news here this week, and there was so much I had to just comb through and just find stuff that I could talk about for a little bit. I'm trying to improve the show a little bit and make it a little bit better. But so when I talk about news, I'm going to try to go in more depth about it. May not this week as much as I want to, but we're going to get better on it. I'm going to do better. It's just the 13th episode, guys, and see, told you there's a baby. She's recording the podcast with me. Apparently, she had something to say. But anyway. I talk about DC Universe a lot on the show. If you go back and listen to past episodes, you can hear me talk about it a lot. I love it so much. I have a membership. It's only $7.99 a month. You can find out more about it at dcuniverse.com. And have tons of great shows on there, and they have comics on there, forums, encyclopedia stuff. It's a really great service, I believe. And I've talked enough about it on the show, but something new from there is that now, if you're not a subscriber, you can watch the first episode of their original shows like Titans, Young Justice, Outsiders, and Doom Patrol. You can now watch them for free. And so just go to dcuniverse.com if you haven't watched any of these shows, and definitely watch that first episode of Doom Patrol, because I'm currently watching Doom Patrol, and God, it's so good. It's so weird and strange and amazing and funny and hilarious and awesome, and just so many words that could be used to describe it. And I can't think of any more than that. It's a great show. Phoenix, just play with Cyborg here, and what do you want to say? Is there anything else? Her birthday is tomorrow. She turns 1, and so she has lots to say today about this podcast. And so if she has anything to say, I'll just give her the mic. She doesn't really speak, but we'll pretend, okay? So if I just say, "Here you go, Phoenix," and then the mic goes dead for a few seconds, just indulge her, because it's her birthday tomorrow. And she said, right, Phoenix? Okay. But yeah, so go over to the dcuniverse.com and watch those shows for me, and see what all the hoopla is about and why I talk about it so much. And I mean, it's only $7.99 a month. You can cancel Amazon or something like that. I mean, do something cool. And but yeah, it's a great service. I can't say enough about it. So first episode of their original shows, Like I said, Doom Patrol's great. Young Justice Outsiders, which is my favorite animated show of all time, and then Titans was really good too. They had some awesome fight scenes in that, so go watch those now. But yeah, also from DC. Since we're talking about DC, I guess we'll talk a little bit more about the comic side of them. In June, they'll be launching an event Leviathan. From Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, I believe is how you say it. They've been building this up in comic books. If you read it, they've been building up this Leviathan event, and it's supposed to change the entire DC universe, and it's gonna have a lot of characters in it, and just not just like Superman and stuff, which is we're seeing some of that right now, and just it's exciting. I'm interested in seeing what it is all about, this mysterious Leviathan group, and learning more about it and seeing how the event goes. And Brian Michael Bendis, he's amazing, so that's gonna be cool. And if you're gonna have someone write it, you definitely should go with Bendis. So yeah, exciting stuff in June. And also in June, Marvel, switching sides to Marvel now. Donny Cates and man, I totally wrote this down wrong. Anyway, Donny Cates is going to be bringing Trad Moore. That's it. I think that's what I wrote. Man, my handwriting is horrible. I cannot say that enough. But anyway, Donny Cates and Trad Moore will be bringing Silver Surfer Black, new comic series in June as well. So there's more comic book news for you. Yeah. So still on Marvel, though not comic book related. But Disney and Fox, the deal that everybody's been waiting for, is finally closed. Finally closed on the 20th at like 12:02 a.m., which was a really strange time, but whatever. I don't make the rules. But yeah, so finally Disney owns Fox. Marvel can get Fantastic Four and X-Men back, and they got Deadpool. Reportedly, Deadpool is the only character-wise, the only franchise going to be sticking around from the X-Men universe, and so that's good in my book. But I mean, I guess everyone has an opinion on that. But yeah, I'm really excited for Marvel to get their characters back, and because pretty sure that I've said I'm not a fan of any of the Fantastic Four films that have came out before. I mean, that teach their own, but that last one that came out, the one with the number in it, I just pretend like that never existed half the time. So that's what I just do. Sometimes you just got to pretend like things don't exist if you're just not a big fan of it. I'm not even a little bit of remote of a fan of that movie. But maybe there is some fans out there, so I'm not going to talk bad about it. So, but yeah, because I'm trying to stay positive. But I can say that I'm glad that Marvel is getting these characters back and seeing how they integrate them into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because the Infinity Saga, as it's now called, the first 22 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is coming to a close, and so maybe we'll get Galactus, maybe King the Conqueror. I can't say that word for some reason today. Maybe Doctor Doom. That'd be really cool. But excited to see what heroes happen, how they get introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and as I said, I'm really just ready to see what villain comes next after Thanos is what I assume he's going to be defeated. I mean, that'd be weird if he didn't. But anyways, yeah, so exciting stuff there. But trailers, guys, have you been keeping up with trailers? I try to post them as they release the interesting ones as they come out onto the interwebs. And let's see what kind of trailers got released. Did you watch the Toy Story 4 trailer? Exciting stuff. I'm ready for Toy Story 4. I'm going to take a box of tissues with me because I feel like somehow they're going to make me a grown man cry, because that's what Toy Story does. Toy Story, they get you in the feels, and I'm not going to take my kids to see this and then my kids ask me what's wrong because I'm crying over a toy movie. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to happen, and so I'm going to have tissues to prepare for that. So yeah. But Toy Story 4 trailer comes out as a lot of There's a lot of Bo Peep heavy in that trailer. Go look at it up on YouTube now if you haven't seen it. And so I have a theory that I feel like Bo's going to be like the villain. Maybe not the main villain, but she's going to be working for the villain of the movie, which I don't know who the villain will be. But yeah, this movie looks a lot of Woody and Forky, the new character that's a spork made into a toy by Bonnie, the new owner of the toys. And so that's going to be cool. And I mean, these movies are about Woody. So if any question about why is it so much Woody heavy, because it's Toy Story, the movies are about Woody. He's the main character in all the movies. Toy Story is just about Woody, and all the other characters are just side characters, really. So yeah, go watch that Toy Story 4 trailer if you haven't already. And also, while you're there on YouTube, why don't you look up that Stranger Things Season 3 trailer, ready for that, July 4th, Netflix. I'm excited. To be honest with you, me and the wife just watched Stranger Things not too long ago, a few months ago, in fact, and both the seasons. And it's so good. I can't believe it took us so long to watch it. We're really slow on shows, watching shows. I mean, we got 4 kids, so it happens. It happens. It happens. But yeah, season 3 trailer looks awesome. Can't wait for it. Go watch it now, or I guess you can watch it on Netflix. If you're on Netflix, you're probably on Netflix. You're probably not on Netflix when you listen to the show, but you're probably on Netflix right after you get off listening to this show. So go watch those trailers. Mortal Kombat 11. I discuss this game like every episode. I swear something else gets released about it. Somebody has a new trailer, characters. They did have some more character reveal trailers, but it wasn't like new characters. We had already talked about them on the show, but they just showed gameplay from them. But yeah, the beta for that will be March 27th through the 31st. The closed beta for Mortal Kombat 11, which comes out April 23rd, by the way. If you've pre-ordered the game, you can play the beta and find more details on their Mortal Kombat Facebook page. And then, of course, you can go to like NetherRealms, their website and stuff, and learn more about that now. Or just go to GameStop and pre-order the game or something, or pre-order it on your PS4 or Xbox One now, and then you can get the beta code and play the beta. But yeah, moving right along, let's see. Speaking of video games, everybody knows Call of Duty, right? Yeah, Call of Duty Mobile. Finally, Call of Duty is putting out a mobile game. Call of Duty Mobile. It's a free-to-play game. It's going to be coming out later this year. You can actually pre-register for the beta now. CallOfDuty.com/mobile. You can learn more about the game. They don't have a whole lot of details out right now, but you can go pre-register to get on that beta and be one of the first people to try out the Call of Duty mobile game. PUBG's did it, and so I don't know if Fortnite has a mobile game or not. But a lot of people play mobile games. I'm personally not a fan of mobile games. It's just not something I do. But I'm a fan of Call of Duty in a sense. Me and Zak, my producer, been playing a lot of Black Ops 4. We play Blackout every day. You can add us on PS4. Mine's PSN gamertag is CK the Red Hood, and he is Z-Bandit. And Z-Bandit for Zak, and CK the Red Hood for me, CK. If you want to play with us sometime or play anything with us, I just got Injustice 1 and 2 because I'm hoping to do an Injustice special one day. I've already played those games, so I don't want to go back through, and I'm reading the comics and stuff. And that's what I plan for the future. Spoiler alert, I guess. But yeah, Call of Duty Mobile, so go pre-register for that beta now. One more last video game thing here. Google is now entering the video game world. They got a new video game platform coming out called Stadia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Stadia. Stadia. We'll go with that. Anyway, it gives you access to any screen you can access Stadia from. That means TV, laptop, your desktop computer, tablet, phone, etc. You can access this streaming console. It's not a console, I guess. They have a controller, and you can access the streaming network, kind of like a PS Now thing, PlayStation Now, or Xbox Game Pass, sort of. I don't know. But, you have to have consoles for that. You just have a controller, I guess, here, and they have 4K. It's gonna be 4K, and it's 60 frames per second gaming. It should be nice. The guy over at Google says it's more powerful than the PS4 and Xbox One combined. I'm excited to see something like that. There's been some things that have been announced about it, like you can be watching a person streaming a game, like like a famous YouTube streamer or something. People stream video games. You can be watching them, and then you can jump into the same game that they're playing and play with them. That's pretty cool. Also, with the 4K, they said you'll be able to upload videos of games, and it will be in 4K. So exciting stuff. Google's coming to the video game market, and I'm excited to see what they bring. I'm not for sure about any of the games or any more details. I know it's coming out later this year, supposedly. And so as soon as we get more details, we'll talk about it on the show, because we talk about video games from time to time. Last bit of news here, though, is James Gunn is returning to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which goes in good with our Marvel talk. But yeah, James Gunn, who was fired for some offensive tweets he made like 11 years ago. He was fired from Disney, his boss, Alan Horn. And he just got reinstated as the director and writer of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So I'm sure the whole cast was rejoiced over that, because they made a big deal about it, and they wanted him to be back on the thing. Apparently, this deal's been on for a few months now, and they're just announcing it now. And so I'm excited. James Gunn, during the time after getting fired 8 months ago, he got a job with DC, going to be directing and writing the new Suicide Squad movie, which he will still be doing, and he'll be doing that before Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And it has been said, which I think we've mentioned before, that it is going to be a reboot, and it's called The Suicide Squad. We've talked about some casting rumors, announcements, stuff like that on here, and some cast stuff. I've heard Batista's going to be playing Peacemaker, but we'll see about that. Yeah, exciting stuff, though. But let's move on to releases. Your movie releases for tomorrow at theaters, Friday 22nd, if you're listening to this on Thursday. Jordan Peele's Us comes out on Friday the 22nd, so all those horror fans and Jordan Peele fans should be really excited about seeing Us. I know that Zach's going to see that. So, also on Saturday, you can actually see the movie Shazam! I have to yell that like that. And you can see it 2 weeks early by buying your tickets off of Fandango. It doesn't come out till like April 5th, but you can see it Saturday. I think we're going to take the boys to see that. So maybe on the, not the next show, because it's still MarchCU, but the show after that, before the movie comes out, maybe I'll be able to give a spoiler-free review of Shazam if we do take the kids to see that. But yeah, home releases next Tuesday, April. Whoa, going back in time here. It is March. March 26th. Man, I do not know my months. Oh my God. March 26th, home releases. You got Mary Poppins Returns coming to DVD Blu-ray. You got that Will Ferrell movie, Holmes and Watson, coming out. And also, a big one for me here, Aquaman is coming to DVD and Blu-ray, 4K, all that good junk on Tuesday, March 26th. March, not April. March. I got confused with the Shazam coming out April 5th. But yes, so Aquaman's coming out on Tuesday. I'm going to have to get that because I haven't seen it yet. And I guess I will also give a review on that on the first April episode. So, yeah. Wow. March, April. Months are hard, guys, okay? You try to do months and do this show at the same time with kids and spring break. Spring break is hard. Video game releases go for this week on tomorrow, Friday, March 22nd. We have Sekiro Shadows Die Twice coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Whatever happened to video? Man, a lot of video games. I don't know when the transition went from video games coming out on Tuesdays to coming out on Fridays. Not that it really matters. It's just I just now noticed that today. I was like, you know what? When I've been putting these releases every week, a lot of these video games have been coming out on Fridays. I said, when did they change? I don't know when that happened. that has nothing to do with the video game that's coming out. I just thought it was weird, random. Somebody messaged me about that and tell me whenever. Was there some type of universal change? They were like, video games are now coming out on Fridays, major video game releases. I don't know, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to do with releasing one day or another. It's still releasing, but I just really noticed that. So now it's all I can think about. That's all your releases, though, for the week. All right, so we're going to move right along into our the last segment we have before I get Zach on here and we do the go through the Phase 3. And that segment is called CB with CK, or Comic Books with CK, where each week I give you a comic book that I read last week. That was one of my favorite comic books, and I also throw in a runner-up. And then I tell you a comic book that I'm most looking forward to that's coming out this week. And you can pick all these comic books up at your local comic book shop, or you can get them digitally if that's the thing that you want to do. And so I definitely recommend all the books that we talk about here on CB with CK. Now I'm going to start with last week, of course. And I'm going to start with the runner-ups. There's runner-ups. Normally there's just one, but there's actually a tie this week. And it's a tie because it was so hard for me to choose and they probably would have been a tie for the number one book but then something happened in one of the books, the book that is my top from last week, and it made it the top. But anyways. So, Transformers #1 from writer Brian Ruckley and art by Angel Hernandez and Shay Whitman. And this is a book. It's starting the franchise over for Transformers and the comic books, and it's back on Cybertron many years before they reach Earth, and you get to see. Optimus isn't even Optimus. He's Orion Pax, and you get to see some other Transformers and stuff, and it's an exciting story, and I'm following along on it now, and I can't wait to read more. And if you want to pick up that book, go ahead and do that now, because I definitely highly recommend that. Another one that I was really impressed was the Magnificent Miss Marvel #1 from writer, I'm going to mess these names up, Saladin Ahmed, and artist Min-Kyu Jung. I guess it's a new series. I'm not really for sure if it's gonna has. It seems that there was other books. I've never read any Miss Marvel before, but my son Maverick really likes Miss Marvel, and so I thought it'd be cool to hop on this book and read more about Miss Marvel. And I really enjoyed it, and it's a cool story, and the ending was really great and really got me excited for a second issue. So I'm not really going to talk much about the runner-ups, but yeah, you can pick those up. So, but my top book from last week, and some people say this is cheating because I play this character in a web series, but and I'm trying not to pick these. I'm trying to pick different books each week for my top, and I've done Red Hood Outlaw before, but Red Hood Outlaw #32 was my top book for last week, and I really tried not to, guys. The ones that know me as Red Hood, I didn't want to pick Red Hood as my #1 book, and maybe people that read it were like, I mean, it's not as strong right now in its run as it was whenever they got revamped and had Artemis and Bizarro and stuff, and they're not as, I guess the story's not as strong as it was, but it looks now he's got a new set of outlaws, and Wingman, and the other one, can't think of it right off the top of my head, but yeah. So it's Jason has came back to Gotham, and he's a little bit different now because he is being Jason. He's trying to do this, tacking this crime on by being Jason Todd, and so he has taken over Penguin's Iceberg Lounge, and so he and there's like the news reporters are there talking to him about it, doing a piece, I guess, about it, and it's really funny because they mention how they thought he was dead. He's the most protected of Bruce Wayne's sons because they thought he was dead at one time, and he was like, "Oh, that was just over exaggerated," which was it was really cool. It was really funny, and it's just more story on. You get to see some Falcons and stuff, and Jason deals with them in funny ways and stuff, and it's really good. He's running the Iceberg Lounge, and he's got he's got all these assassin girls that once tried to kill him, and they're working for him, trying to turn their lives around, and it's really funny and really interesting of just Jason Todd, you know, being running this club and being like his being the billionaire's son, and so it's really funny but what's really hilarious about it, and this is it, and it I guess not hilarious, it's more as a really great moment, and what the moment in the book that really brought it to be my number one, because like I said, it those listen, Magnificent Miss Marvel and Transformers number one. I'm gonna have to say that those two books were probably got me more interested in the next book and stuff, and just they were probably better well written, maybe, I don't know. But the why Red Hood Outlaw number 32 was my favorite book of the week was, see, Jason's been gone from Gotham because he tried to kill Penguin, and Bruce and him had worked out a deal of no killing, and so he he left Gotham after getting beaten by Batman, and so he's just came back, and he's doing this thing as Jason Todd, and and so Batman shows up and is like talking to him and stuff, and he's like mad and all this stuff, and Jason's just like, I'm doing Jason Todd. I mean, doing things different. I mean, blah blah blah, and so he basically tells him to get out of Gotham, and that he's not supposed to be back here and stuff like this, and that and the part is it's really funny, but basically Jason tells him that he can call the cops on him, and have him arrested. But then they're going to ask a bunch of questions about why is he, Jason Todd, Bruce Wayne's billionaire son, the Red Hood? How did he become the Red Hood? And all these questions. And so then there's all these other I can't remember all the lines that he says to him, but basically he's like, he basically told him, okay, well, if you call the cops and have the cops come get me, because that's what you're going to have to do, I'm basically going to let everybody know that they're going to know I'm Red Hood, and they're going to know that you're Batman. And so Batman doesn't do anything. He just looks at him, and it doesn't like hit him or anything. He just leaves. And, and just Jason's like, bye, Dad, can stop by anytime you want. And just that was just the most hilarious moment of Jason standing up to Bruce, and it was just I was like, yeah, that's hilarious, that's awesome, and so that probably was the reason why I put Red Hood Outlaw number 32 as my favorite, and so for last week, man, it was so good. But yeah, this week though, comic book day is every Wednesday. New comic books come out, and my show comes out on Thursday. So I also give you a recommendation of a lot of books come out on Wednesdays, and I basically see the ones that are I'm the most interested in reading, and because I have several recommendations, which if you follow us on the Instagram page, Instagram Good Stuff Podcast, you will see every week I do a little collage of like 6 to 8 books that I recommend. But this one is probably the one the one that I recommend on CB with CK is my top recommendation, which, if you follow us on Instagram, you saw it yesterday. It is Marvel Spider-Man City at War number one of 6. It's the 6 issue run, but this is the first one. It's written by Dennis Hopeless Hallam and art by Michael, I don't know what that is, Bandini. I think it's Michael. But yeah, so what's exciting about this is that it's set in the same universe as the PS4 game Marvel Spider-Man, which is an amazing game. I've talked highly about it on the show before. It was a great game, and this is set after it, and so I'm really excited to see these characters and to see the storyline being continued, and this will basically tide you over, I guess, until a sequel comes out for the game. So really excited to jump on this. So jump on with me, Marvel Spider-Man City at War. And then perhaps, if you follow us on the Instagram, or if you like our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Good Stuff Podcast, you can like that Facebook page, by the way. Message me about it, and let's talk more about this Marvel's Spider-Man City at War #1. If you read that, or if you read any of the books that you're talking about, or that I've talked about, if you jump on those because I recommended them, or if you have books that you read, and let's just talk about comic books because I love comic books, and I'm so glad that a few months ago I decided to get back into comic books. But yeah, without any further ado, that's all I got for you on the news release in CB with CK front. And so we're going to get Zach in here, and we're going to dive into the Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All right, and I'm here with Zach. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Week 3 of the MarchCU. The MarchCU continues.
Third time's a charm. Whatever that means.
That's something. I don't know. I just show up and record when the boss says. I am the boss, so that's strange how things work. But anyway, how's your week been?
I'm finally got that cold, I think. So just a sore throat, but other than that, it's alright.
Cool. Oh man, I guess we should move on to the Phase 3 movies. I'm pretty excited about these ones. There's quite a bit of Phase 3 movies that I'm really excited about. I mean, none of them are like my favorite movies. There's a couple like there's like one that was like my second favorite MCU movie, but I mean, it's just a lot of good like a lot of these movies are just very they added so much to the MCU, and just they're so, I mean, they just improved throughout time. The MCU movies did. So once we got to Phase 3, we're just churning out hits,
Yeah, a couple of them are in my top 5, so was.
Oh yeah, there's. I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a bad one here in these 5 that we're going to go over today, but I mean, it's just the MCU is like, I mean, really caught its stride there. I think in Phase 3, personally, at least I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, so we're going to start off. Well, actually, I've decided that what we need to do before we talk about the movies in Phase 3 is talk about the other things that that's also, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't just movies.
Right.
Which we've mentioned the one-shots. We mentioned Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before. We briefly went over Daredevil last week, and I should have mentioned this last week as well, but because it's really Phase 2. But the first season of Agent Carter came out around the same time of Phase 2, the end of Phase 2. So, did you ever watch Agent Carter?
Yeah, I was pretty excited for that show when they first announced it, but then kind of got a few episodes in, and I don't know, I just was kind of a bit disappointed, I think.
I mean, I think a lot of people enjoyed it. I mean, I know they went 2 seasons on that show, and then I know a lot of people want them to bring it back. I only got a few episodes into it as well. I just wasn't a fan of it. I mean, it wasn't. I guess it wasn't my thing,
Yeah.
So, but not that it was. I don't know what it was. I to be honest with you, I don't know what it was about it. I guess it just didn't hook me right in. And I really should try to blow past that spot that I got to, because, I mean, as I said last week, shows are like that sometimes. It takes a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows that have hooked me after, like, I go back, like, for, like, Z Nation. When I was watching Z Nation, I watched the first few episodes, and I was like, this is stupid. And then I went back, and I powered through that, and I was like, this is really good. It's like The Walking Dead, but it's like a comedy too, so it's like a funny version of The Walking Dead.
And so, I mean, one day I'll probably need to revisit that. But yeah, Agent Carter first season came out before the start of Phase 3. But Phase 3, it started on May 6th, 2016, first weekend of May. Can you imagine that? A movie of the MCU coming out in the first weekend of May? I swear, I never noticed how that happened all the time. Every year in May.
I do because it's always my birthday month, so I was like excited.
Yeah. But yeah, so May 6th, 2016, Captain America Civil War. Uh, just man, it was the MCU's adaptation of one of the most popular storylines in comic books, the Civil War storyline, and they did their own take on it. And I mean, I think they did a great job, personally.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
But the only thing, like, I just don't understand really why they called it a Captain America movie. Because
yeah, I mean,
it was just more like an Avengers film, but
it really is. A lot of people call it Avengers 2.5.
yeah, like I just
So I
don't
mean,
know why they added the Captain. Maybe they just wanted to finish that off as a trilogy, or because it was in his contract or
I
something.
think just maybe because like some of the storyline elements had to do with
Right.
closing the trilogy up, though. I mean, because a lot of it was, it's really, a, it's Cap and Bucky, really, and you mean you get that continuation. It's like a, in the first film they were friends and stuff like that, and then in, just before he became Captain America, and then he became Captain America, and then he found Bucky again, and he was with them and with the Howling Commandos, and then he got thought he died, but he didn't, and then he became Winter Soldier, and so you got to see their conflict and stuff in the second one, and then the third one
Right.
is the continuation of that story. So I think that's why it's more of a Captain America film, to be honest with you, because that's really, if you take the trilogy of Captain America, it's really the storyline is Cap and Bucky. It's really their story together.
Finishing it off the trilogy.
Yeah. So I mean, that would be why. But I thought it was really cool and interesting. The as we mentioned last week on the Avengers: Age of Ultron, at the very end of it, we briefly
Right.
mentioned how it was Sokovia was that city that got lifted up and stuff, and that we needed to remember what was going to happen because it was going to come back in a later movie. And here we are at Captain America: Civil War, and that comes back to haunt the Avengers, the stuff that happened there, because at the first of Captain America: Civil War, we see them they're fighting where they're going to what again for
To what?
Crossbones, right?
Oh yeah, right.
Um, Chasing Crossbones and yeah, and so they're trying to catch Crossbones, who I guess we really saw him mainly in Winter Soldier, his story arc.
Yeah,
And so,
he wasn't in there very long.
yeah, true. Really underutilized character, Crossbones. And then whenever Wanda, he was going to like blow up the bomb or the bomb was attached to him, right? And then when Wanda threw the bomb, and blew up that building and stuff, and that's really that. And then the Sokovia thing is what drove the Sokovia Accords, which is having all, I guess, can we use the word vigilantes? I
Vigilante,
guess
Secret Avengers.
it's basically made it where everybody that was a costume hero had to basically reveal their identity, right? I mean, that's what the Sokovia Accords are. You had to basically, it's like
Right.
the
And then the comics, the people that were against the registration with the Secret Avengers. So I guess that would be
right. So it was about the Registration Act in the
yep.
comic books. It was the Registration Act and Sokovia Accords in the movies. So then we got Team Captain America going against that, and then because America, you should have freedom, I guess, and then Team Iron Man, which is weird that always thought it was weird that Tony was so for the system, because he just seems like a person that's more of a rebel. I mean, I don't
Oh.
know what is your opinion on that?
You cut out for a second. Sorry.
Oh, you're all good. I said, so what's your opinion on that of Iron Man being, basically fighting for the government and stuff? Is that weird to you?
Mm,
Does it go against the character of Tony to you, or?
I, I mean, it's kind of half and half, I guess, because I mean, it makes sense because I guess the character Tony kind of just blames himself, sort of, for the like, especially like before the Civil War started, when he came out of whatever that conference or whatever,
When he was
that
talking at the
woman,
school?
yeah, the school, and the woman was telling him about her son that died in Sokovia, and he's like full of himself and has a big head or whatever, and I think that's kind of what triggered him to really like. He's like, oh, this really affected other people, so
Yeah,
I think we gotta watch what we do.
right. I mean, it makes sense with the storyline, and I mean, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, like, I always thought Tony Stark is a rebel, so it's kind of weird that to me that Captain America. Well, I guess it wouldn't just be as good story, but that Captain America's not doing what his country wants him to do, But I mean, I guess it makes sense at the same time, though. So I mean, either way, I mean, you can look at it whichever way you want. But uh, I know we got a lot of great moments in that movie. Um, because also what happens in that movie is the Winter Soldier um, basically killing, shooting that what was a rocket or whatever it was.
Yeah, kills Pappy Black Panther,
Yeah, uh, Papa.
Papa,
Uh,
Big Papa Black Panther.
yeah, and so I killed Black Panther's T'Challa's dad, which I can't remember what his was, T'Chaka or something like that.
Uh, T'Chaka, I think, yeah.
Yeah, something like
And then
that.
his son is T'Challa.
The king.
Um, yeah, so that was the first introduction in the MCU for Black Panther, as well as someone else.
Yep. And so that gets another storyline because he was basically wasn't it Baron Zemo that did that, or something to do with that, because we see a lot of Baron Zemo in
Yeah,
here,
it was like,
or the MCU's version of Baron Zemo.
yeah, he was kind of like the perpetrator of that. He was kind
Yeah,
of controlling.
because he went and got that little notebook thing with the code words to control.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about the code words.
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I used to know them, but I don't remember them now.
yeah, the code words which would make Bucky do shit.
Yeah. So this was another thing that kind of had Captain America going against the government and stuff like that, and going against the Sokovia things, because he didn't want to sign the Sokovia Accords. And while they were still like having time to think about it, and then this thing happened, and then he wanted to find Bucky and be on Bucky's side and stuff like that. So that really was also a major driving force between the two teams. And Civil War was those guys were trying to come bring in Bucky, and the other teams were trying to stop Captain America's guys were trying to stop him. So like, let's see, Captain America, he ended up having, it was him and Falcon, and then Winter Soldier, and then what he also had Ant-Man, right? And
Ant-Man, yeah,
Ant-Man, and then Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye, right?
right.
Then Iron Man has Iron Man, and War Machine, and Vision, Black Widow. I feel like there was someone else. Was that it?
Well, and then the introduction of Spider-Man.
Besides Spider-Man, which was cool. Which before the trailer, I mean, was there rumors? I can't remember. I'm sure there was rumors because it's the
Well,
internet.
there was like I think there was a thing going on where people were talking about a deal between Sony and Marvel to allow Spider-Man, and then the internet blew up, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
When that trailer though first came out, and you just see them at the thing, and then you just see Iron Man go under ruse, and just he come and catches the shield and takes it from Captain America. That was like, and then he just lands on the car, and then you see the little eyes can move and stuff like that. It's just that was like probably you got to think of. I know we've said iconic moments of that have happened in the MCU. That was probably the most iconic trailer moment of any trailer.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I shit my pants when it happened. But
Because I don't think anyone knew. Like we didn't believe it. It was just rumors. I mean, there's always rumors. But then when it happened, it was like a whole different world had just opened up. Because now Spider-Man's in the MCU,
yeah,
and Tom Holland is just amazing. And like all his everything he says in that movie is just awesome. And I think the funniest thing is whenever he's asking them if they've ever seen that old movie, The Empire Strikes Back. You ever seen that movie? It's really old. Empire Strikes Back.
pop culture reference.
Yeah, when he's like
Well, at least his pop culture references helped him out a few
in
times.
his fighting with Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is funny in real life how they always mess with each other too. But it was a great movie, and so it was awesome, which ended up just so many different things happened in that movie. It's hard to like remember everything that happened in that movie, but you find out that Bucky was the one that killed Tony's parents. We found that at the end, and because he was brainwashed, and so then like you get that awesome fight between Captain America, Winter Soldier versus Iron Man, and that was
And
awesome.
then the iconic, I thought was pretty awesome. The iconic scene from the comic books where Iron Man is shooting his lasers at the shield. That was pretty great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was an iconic moment, and that was so cool to see that be played out on screen. There was a lot of good moments. I think no, like it was just a lot of stuff in Captain America: Civil War, and that's probably why it's not like it's definitely one of my top fives, but it's not my. I think it's maybe
Yeah, it's in my it's up there for me.
yeah.
Definitely in my top 5 also.
But I think just maybe it had just too much going on, and I was very disappointed by Baron Zemo. So
Yeah, they seem to big problem. Like the MCU definitely has like a villain problem. Like they just under
huge.
underutilize the villains and like I mean Crossbones just like died and then especially like I know we'll get to that later, but in Black Panther, someone else like a big villain just randomly gets killed off.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I just wanted more of Baron Zemo. I guess I wanted to see Baron Zemo in a more comic accurate costume and being actually Baron
yeah,
Zemo. Not just, it could have been anybody. It could have been Paul. Paul, some guy from Kansas, could have been the same, put in the same situation.
yeah.
So it'd been the same thing or whatever. But yeah, so that was Captain America: Civil War, and then later on that year, November 4th, you had Doctor Strange came out.
Doctor Strange.
I don't,
That was
to be honest with you, I don't remember much about Doctor Strange.
that was another one kind of like I guess Ant-Man and stuff like people probably didn't know how I was gonna do,
Yeah. I mean, I like
but
Doctor Strange. It's not one of my favorites though, but I mean, I like it. I mean, I like it. Uh, I mean, I guess mainly it's a lot of magic and stuff like that, and just that's not my kind of thing. But uh, I mean, it was good. Just I can't remember too much about it. I know that Barry Morto was in it as a good guy at the beginning of the movie. There, I don't remember what the villain was not that good. Not the
yeah, Demora,
not the Dormammu one, but the other one,
the
Calluses or whatever his name is, whatever with the K.
yeah, but the real villain was Dormammu because they were kind of working for him really.
Yeah. So, but you see a lot of this stuff, but I mean, you needed that because you needed the time stone introduced. And then you got that really cool moment with him and Dormammu where he just kept coming back and stuff like that. And so that was really cool. That where he just said Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and he put it on a time loop basically, and so you just get all those shots of him dying and stuff, and so that was really
Just
cool
dying.
over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like Doctor Strange. I thought it was a really good movie, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It's just hard to remember much of it, to be honest with you. I mean, but it's not a bad movie by any stretch. It means it's just it just wasn't, I just wouldn't put it in my top,
Yeah.
But
Doctor
I mean,
Strange, the character, he's a badass too,
yeah.
which we find out
So
later, pretty much.
yeah, right. He's a little bit, but of course we have to see the beginnings of it though.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I want to talk about real quick of other things just to mention that came out in between in the middle of phase 3 at different times. You had we already said the season of Daredevil, but then a second season of Daredevil came out. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, all those first seasons came out during phase 3 as well. And then Defenders came out August 18th, 2017. So all of these shows came out during the phase 3 movies that we're talking about today, just the part 1 of phase 3. So
right.
And all of them, some of them are good, some are not so good, but
yeah, the Defenders. I mean, I think the Defenders fell kind of flat. And, of course, Iron Fist was kind of, yeah.
I did not enjoy Iron Fist. Luke Cage was all right. I really liked the first season. Jessica Jones. I haven't watched the second one, and of course,
Yeah, David Tennant was amazing.
that was the reason why. If he wasn't in it, then it probably wouldn't be as good. And then the first couple seasons of Daredevil, of course, it's Daredevil. So I mean, it was good. We talked about it some last
right.
week. So. But anyways, yeah, those Netflix. I almost said Hulu. Netflix shows.
You did say Hulu.
My bad. Those Netflix shows. Mixed opinions about them. But I guess we don't have to worry about those anymore, though. So,
yeah, unfortunately.
Because over and done with. I mean, really, at this point, I only care about Punisher anyway. So.
What? Not Daredevil no more.
Daredevil. I haven't seen season 3 yet, so.
Season 3, I thought it was a good way to end it off. I mean, I think the way they ended that and the Punisher, like, it could just be a door closed. Like, they didn't really leave it open for those.
Oh, that's good. Excellent. I have to watch Punisher season 2 as well.
Yeah, Punisher. I think you'll be happy like with the ending because it's not like a open ending. So.
Cool. All right, so we're moving. Let's go back to the films now. Did a little detour there. So we're at May 5th, 2017, because first weekend of May. So that's
Yeah.
So what the
favorite time of the year.
MCU does it. And so almost said Game of Thrones. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out then. So
yes.
what did you think about it? Because the first Guardians is your favorite MCU movie, as we found out last episode.
Right. I mean, number 2, it's definitely wasn't as good as the first one. Like, I think they focused a little too much on Quill, Star-Lord's character, and his background, and it felt like the other Guardians were just more backdropped in. And I don't know. I just felt like it just didn't live up to like what made the first one as good as it did.
I actually just mentioned earlier about how James Gunn is coming back for Volume 3, and I know that Guardians of the Volume 2 is not well received as the first one is. I didn't like it as much either. Not that it was bad. It's just it was a little off, and maybe that what you're saying because they spent too much on Quill and Guardians is like the team with, in the whole first movie. The reason why we liked it so much is because it was all the team, like the entire time coming together, and so it's a team movie. And I guess Guardians 2 was more solo movie with some other people mixed in. I also felt like I didn't like the characters as much as I did in the first one. I don't know, like I don't. They just didn't. There was some like good laugh moments. Drax is great all the time, or mostly. I just it felt kind of, I don't know why it felt flat a little bit though, personally. Um, Maybe though what you said, I didn't ever think of it about that. I always wondered why I didn't like it as much. Maybe that's the reason though, because I mean,
And they did get a new member though after that, which was Mantis.
yeah, which she came importance, and well, not really importance. She was in Infinity War. So I mean, she's used in Infinity War at one spot. So it's good to mention her. So you get to meet Quill's dad.
Which is for some reason Ego, but which was also kind of weird.
That
But
was a little different because he's not. He's what, the leader of Spartax or something planet, right?
yeah,
In the comic books.
yeah. I was just reading one of the Guardians comics about, and it had his real father in there,
Yeah.
Sparks.
But yeah, so it was really interesting for Ego to be like his dad and just basically made him to further his own agenda. You know, it was kind of strange. But you did get the great Yondu send off moment. So,
Yeah, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. And that will be something that no one will never ever forget. Just in the Mary Poppins Returns movie, did you know that Mary Poppins does not once go, "I'm Yondo, y'all," which I believe is they really missed out on a good moment
Right.
to have in the new Mary Poppins movie. But no, aside from that little laugh, little joke there. But yeah, so you get to see and then Yondu died, which was really sad.
Spoiler.
I had to, this whole thing is spoilers. If you listen to us talk about these movies and not expect spoilers, that's on your fault. That's like listening to a Star Wars podcast and then getting mad because I told you Han Solo died. I mean, it happens. I mean, it's not like I told you that Thanos wiped out half of the world by snapping his finger. Now, did I? Did I ruin that for you? No, I didn't. Now I have, but I'm just saying I didn't at the time. So, sorry, it happens. Man, I'm on one today. It's spring break, dude. Spring break. It's got
Your kids are home. You're like,
just all over the
all right.
place. Hell, got the health issues. Got spring break. It's just too much to handle at one time.
I know your kids want to see. Your kids want to see the other movies of the Captain Marvel.
Yeah, they want to see Shazam. That's the first time I said it on the show without yelling it.
Without yelling it.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so difficult for me. 10 minutes the other day, me and Lacey and someone else had a conversation about that. They're like, "You're saying it just fine." I was like, "I don't know. It sounds weird when I say it." And they're like, "Because you're having hearing problems with your health problems going on, but you're saying it right." I was like, "I don't know. I don't believe you. I think I'm saying it wrong." But yeah. Yeah, so but of course they had good music, and going back to Guardians, they had great music.
Yeah, always has.
It's always does. Man, I played the heck out of our first Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack when it first came out. So much, listened to it so much. The second one, I probably didn't play it as much though. See, just
Yeah. The only song I really cared about from the first one was "Hooked on a Feeling."
man, brought that song back. Felt like the 90s all over. Was it 90s when that came out?
That was the 80s. I don't know.
Who cares? I don't know times. I don't know months. I don't know times. I don't know anything.
Well, because Quill is a child of the 80s, so
Oh, this is true. So it's the 80s.
yeah.
Whatever, man. And then, so we got to the last thing to mention of Guardians of the Galaxy was we got to see BB Groot. So you got to see the baby Groot in action all the time throughout that
Oh,
whole
yes.
movie, which was good because
Which everyone loved.
everyone loved baby Groot.
They didn't want him to
Mike-
grow back up.
Then he did. Then he was teenage Groot. That was fun. As we saw that in one of the many post-credit scenes. How many post-credit scenes did that movie have? Like
It
5?
was like, yeah, I don't know.
You got to see the Groot thing, which we just talked about. You got to see Adam Warlock get teased in that, right?
Oh yeah, Adam Warlock at the end.
You got to see the other Guardians led by Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I
Whatever
can't
they're called.
remember.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. I can't remember what the
I'm
other
a bad nerd.
bad nerd. Bad nerd. I told you to study. But anyway, moving on. July 7th, just a couple months later in 2017, July 7th, 2017, came Spider-Man Homecoming. Finally, we got a Sony / MCU movie. What did you think about Spider-Man Homecoming? It's probably my second favorite MCU movie.
Yeah, it's pretty far. It's definitely in my top 3. I haven't really. I don't know. I mean, it's below Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's like in my top 3.
Yeah, it's definitely my top 3 would have to be Winter Soldier, Homecoming, and Infinity War. But Homecoming is definitely in top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. Like the characters are great, and then what's his face is the Vulture.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know why I can't think of his name. right this second.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton. He was awesome.
He's so awesome. Batman,
And
Vulture.
then they had a bunch of different other characters like the Tinker, the Shocker, and then
2 Shockers.
Yeah, 2 Shockers. One of them got murdered by the Vulture, and the other guy took over. And then they also had the Scorpion, which he wasn't a full Scorpion yet. But
Oh, they also had Prowler, even though Prowler wasn't Prowler yet.
oh yeah, I forgot about Donald Glover as Prowler, where he wasn't Prowler yet. And he also mentioned his nephew, which yeah, if people don't know, Miles Morales in the Ultimate Universes as the nephew of the Prowler.
Yeah, so that was a cool call to Miles. So, which then, last year, Into the Spider-Verse came out. So,
yeah.
But yeah, there was so much, and even though all those characters were in that, it never felt like too much. It wasn't a Spider-Man 3 situation or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't all like in their suits and trying to beat them up. So
yeah, it was all blended together, basically all working for the Vulture mostly. So I mean, it made sense. It was a good film. God, Tom Holland is awesome. You got to see his you got to see more of his aunt, and then Iron Man, of course, was in it a lot. And so that was cool. So
definitely, I think the best Spider-Man to portray the character, in my opinion.
oh yeah, me too. Because Spider-Man is best when he's younger and stuff, and I really enjoyed it.
And this is the first time they've ever gotten like a 15-year-old, like
Right.
He's like a 15 in the movies. I don't know how old he is in real life, but he's supposed to be like 15. So
he's so great at Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So I mean, he does both of the characters so well, and so I mean, he's just good. So I'm glad to see that. And then at the end, you got to see the whole Iron Spider suit, and then like it was introduced there. So and then Tony at the end of it, and like was that post credit scene where he asked Pepper to marry him? Was going to ask Pepper to marry him.
Oh yeah, the It was
because they called that press conference for basically
yeah,
him
because
to
they were
come.
gonna announce Spider-Man as the new Avenger, and then
But Spider-Man thought it was a test, and so he like said no, and so they were like he didn't want the suit. He was like because he thought it was a test, and they're like, oh yeah, it's a test, and so they let him leave, and they're like, oh, so what do we do now? And he's like, I don't know, we got to give him something. So he just gets that ring from Happy and goes out there to propose.
yeah, that was great.
That was so good. That's just something that Tony would do. Just had Happy holding onto a ring for like God knows how long. So, but yeah, I really love Spider-Man: Homecoming. I didn't touch much into it. I'm also trying to hurry up because the daughter is woken up and now she's upset.
The
So,
monster is awake.
and her birthday's tomorrow, so therefore we have to do whatever she says. But then, so right here, before this last movie, September 2017, I'm briefly going to say the Inhumans show came out.
Oh yeah, though, which was supposed to be a movie, which probably would have done much better as a movie. But um, I never even watched it. I just knew it was gonna be bad.
I'm just
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
say much about it because we're trying not to be negative. I'm not a fan. I can tell you that much. I watched every episode.
You watched every episode?
It was something.
Damn.
I can tell you that much. I watched all of them. I forced myself to watch all those episodes. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it because I want to know because I didn't know anything about Inhumans. So,
I remember when they first announced it. I think because it was supposed to be a movie. When they first announced it, Vin Diesel was in the running to play
Black
what's his
Bolt, yeah,
face? Yeah, Black Bolt.
yeah. I just didn't enjoy it, but as I said, I'm not going to be negative, so we're just going to breeze past it. Just wanted to mention it before we moved on to November 3rd, 2017. Thor Ragnarok came out. Now, last episode, if you listened, we didn't have nice things to say about Thor: The Dark World. The less we said about Thor: The Dark World, the better, because we're trying not to be as negative. But Thor: The Dark World was just a huge disappointment. I guess we could just say that. But then Thor Ragnarok came out, and it was pretty good.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. It totally took the Thor trilogy in an entirely different direction, more humorous, more like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's probably more
Yeah, and then they kind of did the whole the Planet Hulk arc too.
which was probably one of my favorite bits of it was the Planet Hulk stuff. So having Hulk in it was cool. You got to see Valkyrie. Um, you got to see what Hela's the
All right.
boss,
Yeah.
the villain in that. Almost said the boss.
The end game boss. It's all right. You can call it that.
Right. And so you basically ended up the end. Thor she destroyed the hammer, and then you see Thor basically learn that he actually, or pretty much figure out that he has powers. It's not about the hammer. The hammer is what just channels his powers. He's not the god of hammers. He's the god of thunder. So he ends up using his powers and stuff, and the end there. And so basically winning everything, and the way he gets that, Hela has to be basically taken down, and they have to destroy Asgard. And so Thor makes Ragnarok happen by having the demons. What's it, Surtur? Sator?
Sator, I think.
Yeah, come there and destroy Asgard as prophesized. So that was a good call because I knew that he was going to be in it, and he was in it at the very beginning of the movie when he had like Thor hung up and everything like that. And so I thought that was all he was going to be in it. So it was nice to see him again in the movie. Other good parts of that movie was anything with Korg and Meek in it is awesome. I really hope we get this.
That movie had. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. They went to Asgard. They went to the planet.
It was all over the place. You had Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master.
They met Doctor Strange.
Yep, they met Doctor Strange. because they were trying to find their dad. So, because Loki put him in a nursing home, and it was gone. So whenever they went to go look for him, because Thor figured out that Loki was Heimdall and not Heimdall. Crap. Odin. I don't know why I said Heimdall. So they went to find Odin there at the first of the movie, and they ended up they found him, and I'm assuming where he was at, that's going to end up being New Asgard, so the place where he died at and on Earth. I think that's basically where New Asgard will be whenever the Asgard. Yeah. But yeah, so I had to watch Heimdall die, or not. Dear God, Odin die. I'm.
God, spoiler alert! He doesn't die for another few more movies.
Calm down. I'm trying to skip to Infinity War. Oh my God. Anyways, but there was so much going on in that movie. I didn't even remember that Doctor Strange and all that bit was in that movie. For some reason, I thought that was an Infinity War, but that was not Infinity War. That was here. Dear God, so much stuff happened.
Now that I'm just realizing that, like, I didn't realize how much stuff actually happened in Ragnarok, but like they were all.
They really were. It was really cool seeing Jeff Goldblum in it as the Grandmaster. He wasn't in a Jurassic Park movie this time. It was in Avengers movie, Thor movie.
Yeah, the brother of the Collector.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And just as I said, Corey and Meek were really good. Big fan favorites there from those characters, and hopefully we'll see them in Endgame, maybe.
Yeah.
Huh? Maybe? Yeah? Okay, cool. Perhaps? Maybe? Just a little bit?
Or maybe they got snapped.
No. I believe that them and Valkyrie survived, I think, because they weren't on the...
Oh yeah, I think they said Valkyrie is supposed to be in the Endgame. Yeah, and then I think they said because they were saying all these people who survived and who died, and I think Korg and Valkyrie were part of the survivors.
Yeah, probably Meek died if one of them died, but we'll see. But Thor Ragnarok was cool. It was cool. We can't get like a standalone Hulk movie because it's like partially owned by Universal. So we're getting a Hulk. It's basically
pretty much a Hulk movie.
It's a Hulk trilogy with Thor Ragnarok and Infinity War and then Endgame. They're basically building. It's a interwoven Hulk trilogy in those three movies. So this was the first of it, and so it was really cool.
I don't know why Universal isn't letting them do anything with it. I don't understand.
I don't know either. I think maybe it has a lot to do with them being bought by Disney, and they're wanting to bring them to theme parks, and Universal has like theme park rights in Florida for the superheroes, and so Disneyland has a bunch of they just changed the Tower of Terror. It's Guardians of the Galaxy ride, and so now in Disneyland, not Disney World, because so I think it has to do with a lot about that. So I think it's other stuff, and it's basically being
lame.
It's dumb political stuff. Lame. So lame. But yeah, so that is actually all of what we're doing this week. We are taking Phase 3 and we're doing it in 2 parts. These 5 movies. This is the first half of Phase 3, and then next week we're going to finish up MarchCU and finish up the Phase 3 movies, and then there's only 4 movies that have been released, and then we have Endgame, so a total of 5 movies to talk about. And I guess really on Endgame it's just going to be a bunch of speculation, but it'll be good to talk about that. But yeah, Zach, you got anything else for these Phase 3 movies? Anything that we might have forgot?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. Oh, well, I want to thank you so much for everybody for listening to this episode 13 of the Good Stuff Podcast. Make sure you go leave us a review on iTunes or our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Good Stuff Podcast. You can find us on all our different platforms like Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, Stitcher, YouTube, and of course Podbean. Follow us on Instagram now, Good Stuff Podcast on Instagram, and message us or on our Facebook page or Instagram if you want me to talk about something that you do entertainment-wise. The Good Stuff Podcast is entertainment, nerd, geek, comics, video games, anything like that kind of junk. That's what we talk about on the show, as you've already know by listening. So if you want your stuff to be talked about on the show, we can talk about your stuff. I can review your stuff. If you want to come on and do an interview on a future episode, you can do that. You can also email goodstuffpodcast@yahoo.com to let me know if you want to be on the show. I mean, I just want to promote. So, I mean, that's all we want to do we're just indie guys I'm just doing an indie guy doing an indie podcast. And, I want to just help other indie people out as much as I can. So, but anyway, that's all I got for you this week, and we'll see you next week. #GoodStuffToday.